Okay, William, hi, nice to have you here. A few days since we saw each other last time. And thank you so much for being with me and sharing a little bit of your tennis story. So I would ask you to please introduce yourself for the ones that are listening.
Yeah. Hey, my name is William Grant. I'm 20 years old. Currently going to be a rising junior at the University of Florida. Been playing tennis, for almost all my life now. Played on the junior tour and ITFs for a good amount. And yeah, now I'm in college. We just won the national championship, so that was pretty great.
Awesome, great. So yeah, a lot of the people that are going to listen to this, they know you. Yeah, but great. So my first question to you is, how did you start playing tennis? How, and probably why as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people ask me, and I don't really have an answer, because I have three older brothers and an older sister who, my sister is 5 years older than me. And then my brothers, are older than her. So, they played tennis, growing up. I was actually born in London, England, and I lived there for 3 or 4 years. And so, I don't really know. I was always just, there at the club or, watching my brothers and my sister play. And I was probably, 2 or 3 years old, when I, first started, hitting some balls or, I don't remember, the first time, but, I moved to California when I was, 4 or 5 years old. And there is when I really, start remembering, my first memories and, really committed to tennis and sort of remembered that, okay, this is something that I want to do. And, I think just having, my older brothers and stuff and seeing them play, it was just natural, to me. And I think that, helped me a lot.
Okay. Nice. I have an anecdote, which is maybe a lot of people know this, but I remember many years ago, I saw a video of a little boy playing tennis with Roger Federer. And well, it went kind of viral, that video, no?
Yeah.
And I had no idea who that kid was. And then I saw my dear friend, Juan Pito Viloca, with his student. And his student happened to be the boy in the video. It was you. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, I was 7 or 8 years old. And I mean, even then I don't really remember it too much. I remember, being there, but I don't remember, the sensation and the feelings that I had, but it was pretty crazy. It was like a charity event in New York City, and there was a lot of people there, but, basically we were able to play just one point, with him. And it turned out to be a really good point. And I always joke about it. I always say, after that point, it's been downhill since. I'm never gonna play at that level again. But yeah, it went crazy on YouTube. It's funny actually if you look at some of the comments, like so many people are hating and saying like Federer is not even trying, like this kid's never gonna be good. And it's funny. It's like I'm like 8 years old, and it's obviously Federer isn't trying, but it's funny. It's funny to go back and watch it. It's pretty crazy. I wonder if I show him the video one day if he remembers it.
Oh, probably. We probably will.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So funny story there. Yeah, it was such a coincidence because I had no clue. No? Then I made the connection of this Pitu's student.
My brother just had the YouTube channel and he just posted it, just randomly and obviously, with Federer and it was a pretty crazy point. So I think it went pretty viral and it's funny.
It was a crazy point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So another question. What was your parents' role in all this? Were they very involved in your tennis, or were they the kind of parents that they drop you in the club and the coach take care of your tennis, or how was it?
Yeah,
or how is it still? No.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have such amazing parents, who are very supportive. And I think my dad is a little more involved, in the day-to-day things. And I think having my older brothers sort of go through the process, before me, I think my dad, became very educated and sort of understood the system. And so, he was very supportive, and, I'm very thankful, to have him, support me, and, give me the opportunity to travel and play all these tournaments. And I think it's a great balance from him, to my mom, because my mom is a little more relaxed, and, she's not, too involved in the results and everything like that. And I think she's the one that, whether I win or lose, she always says, you played amazing, and, you look beautiful out there. And, my dad is a little more analytical, and sort of he understands it, a little bit better. And, my dad is one of the smartest people, in the world, I think. And, even though he's not, my coach, he's always there, watching all my matches. And, he's played a huge role, in my development. And there's, no way I would be, where I am today without him.
Okay, so your dad put like the cerebral part in your development, and
Yeah,
mom more the emotional aspect.
yeah, definitely the more emotional,
Yeah,
and, my dad, set me up with such amazing coaches, and sort of put me, in a position to succeed. And he also does a great job of, stepping away, and, not being too involved. But, when he needs to tell me something, or, tell me something important, he's going to say it. And, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's, it's bad, but in the end, it's for good intentions, and it's, always about improving and getting better.
right. Awesome, great. The other thing that I'm always curious about is, do you remember? I know you said you don't remember when you started, but do you have like memories about your coaching style? For example, did you start learning technique first, or strategy first, or a certain philosophy, like be a fighter, or be a hard worker, or have
Yeah,
fun? What are your memories about that?
yeah, it's a great question. I've been very fortunate to be surrounded with, such amazing coaches, from an early age. Obviously, Juan very well, and, also Damian Jackson, and another one, Thomas Brinkoff, who's unfortunately not with us, here today. But, from an early age, being surrounded by, obviously amazing coaches, but most importantly, amazing people, and people that I look at, obviously as coaches, but more importantly as friends, and as mentors. And I think, having those people in my corner from an early age was super important, and I'm still best friends with all of them today, and I'm still working with them, today. I've been with, Damien was my very first coach, in England. All my older brothers,
Wow.
started working with him. And so, Damien knew me before I was even born. And I think, Damien and Pitu have, I wouldn't say, different, styles or philosophies, but it was great to have both of them, as a balance. Because, Juan, he's very, more of the Spanish style, a little more, relaxed, more feeling the game, and sort of learning, with trial and error, and sort of letting the player, sort of feel it out. And, Damien is I would say, not too technical or analytical, but, a little more, specific of this is what we're going to do. And I remember, Pitu he came to California when I was, I don't even know, like, 8 years old, maybe 9 years old. And, I was with him for even up until today. And I mean, he knows me probably better than, my own parents. And I think, we really focused a lot on just hitting, and like I said, just sort of playing with feeling, and sort of playing it, playing sort of like I said, just sort of trial and error. And, I never, Peter never really taught me how to hit a forehand, or, the technique, or stuff like that. It was very natural to me. And I think that helped, a lot to where I am today. I think, I mean, how it is, the Spanish, mentality of, and he obviously, learned it from Pato. And, he brought those techniques, and sort of those skills, down to me. And it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe, his sort of philosophy. But like, we would just hit, for just up the middle for an hour, just feeling the ball, and playing so many points, and just learning. And it's funny because he knows me so well. Like, we would play points, and I swear he would know exactly where I was going to hit the ball every time. And it's so annoying when we would play sets and stuff, because he would know where I was going to hit the ball before even I did. And we used to have, the craziest sets in practice, and the best points. And I think that taught me a lot. And then Damien, on the other hand, he was a huge help as well. A little more, like I would say, a little more technical, a little more specific drills and stuff. And I think that's super important. So I think the balance between Damien, and P2 was perfect. And I think I took away so many things from both of them, and sort of tried to tie it together. And then also their relationship together was amazing. And I think that helped crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was witness of parts of your process, and I know both coaches, Damien and Peter, both very nice, and they work well together. So I think it was great, and especially it's interesting. You've been so long with both.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of
Yeah.
especially in the United States, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a rarity, because
Yeah.
people tend to change coaches very often, and you stick to those two guys for
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah. And I think also, one thing that, I think my dad and my family has done very well is being very loyal, and finding, like I said, not only great coaches, but great people. And there's even, two other, coaches, Ben and Zebu Nube, who were my brother's coaches, growing up. And I spent a lot of time with them, even today. Ben was with me this past summer, and he's been coaching my brothers and stuff, when we moved to California. So there's 4 or 5 coaches that we've had in the family that we've stayed with for forever. And I think just having that relationship and that connection, and being able to communicate and be honest, I think is so important. And
Yeah,
through the good times and also the bad times, just being able to have that relationship, and that trust. It's always for the better, and for making us better tennis players and better people.
yeah, great. And I assume as well, when you have somebody for such a long time, you go through good moments of
Yeah.
development and bad moments, but there's always a learning curve, right? Because
Hmm.
you can look back with the same person at the previous experiences, the past,
Hmm.
and how to correct it and make it better.
Yeah.
So I
I
guess,
mean, there's obviously, through my junior career, I've had, some tough moments and bad losses. And, I've never had, the thought of switching coaches, or, finding someone else, because I always know that they always have my best interest in me, and they know me so well that, it's always going to be, better times. And then when you do have, the good results, and, the big accomplishments, it feels so much better, to have them, in your corner, and, have them be there.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah, very very nice, and it's kind of strange, but a lot of the best players, they have had this kind of relationships,
Yeah.
no? So long
Yeah.
term
Yeah.
relationships. So that was probably a very good observation
Hmm.
on your dad's corner to
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, great. And did you have any role model, any or something specific that motivated you? Because I mean, it's quite a few years already you've been hitting the ball,
Yeah.
no? Every
Yeah.
day.
It's
So
yeah.
how many
It's
years? I mean,
so many. I mean,
it's
almost my whole
12,
life.
12, 14
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
at least. Yeah. But I think my older brothers played a big role, because when I'm 5 or 6 years old, and I'm seeing them play, and especially one of my brothers, Michael, who was maybe one of the better ones out of my brothers. And he played at USC, and he was a very accomplished tennis player. I think he motivated me a lot. I had a very good relationship with him from an early age. And just seeing him play at the high level, it motivated me a lot, because those are my brothers. I want to be where they are. I think if I didn't have them, I can't see how I would have been able to stay motivated, or have a goal of where I want to go. And then obviously on the tennis side, I mean, I'm a big Federer guy. And I think it's hard not
Yeah.
to like someone like him. And I've been watching him from such an early age. I was actually in 2008. Was it 2008? I was actually at the Nadal Federer Wimbledon. I watched it. I watched it
Oh,
live. Yeah,
wow.
that crazy match. And that was one of my earliest memories of watching tennis, and just being there in that environment. It's hard not to be motivated from that, and want to be there, where they are. And so I would say my brothers, and obviously Federer. Just seeing him, he's been playing for so long. It's he's just like an icon. And and such a beautiful player.
Yeah, because sometimes we take it for granted, William, but we are so involved in this sport. I mean, I've been longer than you involved in this sport, but
Yeah.
it's day in, day out, and we don't get sick of it,
Mm-mm.
no? I mean,
Yeah.
we always want more, go back to hit, improve whatever, the backhand, the forehand, the volley. There's always something to learn and to improve. And in this quest of tennis, have you had any moment in this years that you've been practicing and competing that you learned something like very like eye-opening, like you said, wow, I just realized something that it was very important?
Yeah, I think, one of my fondest memories, that I can think of is a couple of years ago at Junior Wimbledon. I came through qualies, and I was like 70 or 80, ITF juniors, which is good, but my goal was to play all the junior Grand Slams my last year, and I didn't care if I did well, just being there and being able to play at these venues. But I was lucky enough to come through qualies and get to the round of 16 at Wimbledon, where I played, Carlos Alcaraz, who
Wow.
is doing well, very well right now. And it's funny going into the match, because I mean he was a beast then, man. This guy was, finals of challengers. And going into the match, he had beaten like my best friend Tyler the round before, like 6-1, 6-1. And going into the match, I honestly, it's probably not good to say, but I was like, okay, I just want to try and win as many games as I can, and just not get embarrassed. That's
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
goal. And next thing I know, it's 6-all, in the third set, at
Wow.
Wimbledon, on the big court. And everybody's watching. And I think he served for the match at 6-5, and I broke back, and it sort of hit me, and it's maybe why I ended up losing the match, honestly. But I sort of looked around, and it was almost like bliss. It was just so beautiful just being in that moment, at Wimbledon, with seeing the center court. And my whole family was there, and so many people watching. And I just sort of told myself, I was like, wow, like, this is pretty crazy. And I might have said, maybe like a swear word to myself, to but it was like, wow, like this is pretty crazy, like where I am right now. And I ended up losing the match, but just in that moment, and it's hard to describe, and I've been trying to chase, those moments, since then. But it's hard to describe, how, like, just in
Mm.
that moment, and I sort of just took a step back, and I looked around, and I was just like, wow, like, I don't know how I'm here right now, but it was almost, like I said, just sort of a feeling of bliss and peace of how much I've worked. And I think those are the moments that we work for, and I think me being able to understand that in the moment, that it doesn't matter that I lost the match. I think just being there and experiencing that, I think it was beautiful. And I think I keep looking back to that, and that's another source of my motivation is, I want to get back there and, being the men's draw and, playing on the big courts.
Well, that's an amazing experience, no? Especially when you have the clarity in that moment to step
Yeah.
out and look back also to your life, how much training you have done and traveling and good moments,
Yeah.
bad moments, and suddenly be playing against this good guy,
Yeah.
doing
And
well, having.
it wasn't even, against the opponent. It was just the experience, just being at Wimbledon, 6-all in the third set, so many people watching, and, on the big courts. It's just amazing,
Yeah. Have you had played it already on grass before, or was
That
that
was
your?
my first time. And another funny story, actually. I played two of the warm-up tournaments, in Nottingham and Roehampton, and I was playing so bad. I couldn't move on the grass. I was getting so mad, like having the worst feelings. And I remember I lost in the first round, or even in qualifying of Roehampton. And I told my dad, I said, I don't want to do this. I want to go home. I don't want to play Wimbledon. Like, I can't do it. Like, I have the worst feelings on the court. I can't move. And he was like, look, you work so hard to get here, just stay there. And even if you lose, in qualies, you got to experience it. And, that was one of the best decisions that I've made. I ended up going through qualies and, winning 2 matches. And, it's just crazy to look back at.
And how did you adjust to that? For example, from moving
Yeah.
poorly and then finally playing well. What
It's,
happened there?
it's life, man. I mean, there's so many ups and downs. And as you know, I think, one thing that I always remember, Pitu always telling me is, or Juan, sorry, as most people know him, is that he told me when he was playing on tour, he would play maybe 4 or 5 matches the whole year where he would feel amazing. And from the start to the finish, he would feel good. Everything was going well. And he said everything else was just fighting and trying to find a way to get through the match and, feeling not so well. And I think that was sort of the mindset that I had was, okay, I'm going to try and do everything that I can to put myself, in a position to compete well and do well. And I think a lot of it was mental, I think just sort of having the right mindset, going into it. And I did a few specific things, on the mental side that I think put me, in a good position, more specifically just little things, just routines and, going to the towel and sort of, visualization and little things like that that can really make a big difference.
Sure. Nice, nice. So it was a good turnaround there.
Yeah.
Good. And right now, what is your biggest challenge at this point of tennis? I mean, you're combining now tennis with college. I mean, we're
Yeah.
studying. I can imagine that could be pretty challenging to
Yeah.
do good in both. But you tell me, what is, in your
Yeah.
opinion, your biggest challenge right now?
I think a lot of it is mental, the sort of the mentality, that I have and the mental toughness sort of, which goes along with the physical side of things and sort of the consistency. And I don't mean consistency as being able to make a lot of balls, consistency of, being able to play a tough match and coming the next day and having the same level, and doing it consistently, not over days or weeks, but, months. And I think it's hard because, I did, really well in juniors. And I think, developing and transferring to pros and futures and stuff like that, I feel like the physical side of things of being big and strong in the juniors, it sort of goes away. Everyone is big, everyone can hit, good forehands, but I think the consistency of being able to compete, every day and then also mentally, just handling the stress, handling the nerves, and being positive and all of that. I mean, as the mental side of tennis is so important. And I think it's also extremely hard, to master. And so every day, I mean, even now, I'm still working on, being positive and competing well. And, when things get tough or, when I don't feel good, trying to find that edge of overcoming it and sort of pushing through it. And I still struggle with that today, but, that's what, we work on every day. And I think I've made some, improvements, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I think, William, observers, sometimes people that are not very close to tennis, they don't see that part. They think it's
Mm-hmm.
just you just go on court and you have to play well. They don't know the way a tennis player feels
Yeah.
uh, related to performance, no, because we always play with a very small percentage up there, no?
Mm-hmm.
So you drop your percentage a little and your level goes down. So I mean, you know that feeling when you go there and you say, if I want to win, I have to play
Mm-hmm.
to my best, and that
Mm-hmm.
creates a lot of pressure. And yeah, what I see also is that pressure doesn't go away the more you win, because you win, you have
Exactly. Yeah.
another match next day that you want to do the same, and if you win again, then you have another, and your expectations grow. So it's, yeah, I think it's quite a job to get used to that,
Mm-hmm.
to take it as something normal, like it's gonna be sunny or it's gonna be
Yeah.
raining.
And I
Yeah.
think a good example is, just a few weeks ago, I played, a tournament, in Dallas that, I ended up
Yes.
winning, and
Yeah.
it was amazing and it was great, but I mean, at least for me, I didn't feel amazing on the court. You think, okay, I won, 7 or 8 matches, I must be playing amazing, but at least for me, I didn't feel like I could put the ball anywhere on the court. It was a lot of it was just competing and mentally, just trying to find a way, to get through it. And I think that sort of shows you about tennis is it's not about, I mean, everyone can hit good forehands, everyone can hit a good serve. It's about finding the small details and sort of finding the small edge of being able to get through it. And I think that sort of just shows you, how important the mental side of things are.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the tournament as well, because I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't watch it in on Insta
Yeah,
on YouTube, the
yeah,
live. But you know, the boys have been talking about it, and they say, wow, that was a good tournament, very solid tournament that William won.
hmm
So so you what you're saying is that you made a difference there because of your attitude towards
yeah,
difficulty.
exactly. And just competing, just competing every point, and not thinking about it. I mean, it was a long tournament, and I played 7 matches, in 7 days. And I think one of the best things that I did well is like me and you talked about was just staying there, in the moment. And I think what I do a lot is thinking ahead to the next match, or to the rankings. But each match I would show up, and I told myself I'm going to do everything that I can to just get through this match. And I wasn't even thinking about the next day or the next day. And when you do that, you just get so lost, in the moment, and sort of the process, that the next thing you know, you're in the finals. And it's you felt like it was just yesterday. And I
Mm,
think I think that taught me a lot. And like I said to you, my mentality in the matches, it was so hot, just dying on the court, feeling like crap. And what I told you, I just kept telling myself, was just stay there, stay there. And that's another thing that Juan used to always say is, during the matches, if I was getting pissed or getting mad or playing bad, I would look at him, maybe for some coaching or something like that. And he would just say, just stay there, man, just stay there, and keep fighting. And there's nothing else you can do, just stay there, and try your best, and whatever happens.
yeah, nice. Write that one down so you don't
Yeah.
forget it. But
Yeah,
I
it's
think, you
important.
know, the learning comes sometimes with the experience, because
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably something you've been hearing a lot. Stay there, fight every point, stay in the moment. But you did it. You did it now, and you know how it feels. Probably, no,
hmm,
inside. Oh, you know, I can play this good or this bad and still get out of the court
got it.
as a
Yeah,
winner. Yeah,
yeah, a lot of a
nice,
lot of a
nice.
lot of confidence for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And is there anything special about tennis that make you happy? That you think, oh,
Yeah,
I love this.
I think I think just the amount of work, and sort of working hard, and practicing, and then being able to win a tournament, or win a big match. There's I'm sure you can agree, and a lot of my tennis friends can say it is, winning a big match. The amount of relief and the happiness and that you feel after the last point. It's just like, oh, you worked so hard, and you tried so many things. And I think that's what pushes me so much. And I think for example, at the last tournament, when I won, I wasn't going crazy. I was just relieved, and just so happy. It's just like so much weight came off of me. And it's
Yeah,
just like how much I worked this whole week. That's why we do it, right? Is because of
yeah,
the training, and the tough sessions, and all of that. It leads to moments like that. And so being able to realize that in the moment, it's very positive, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. And the thing about tennis is, you can enjoy it for a little bit, but you gotta the next day, you gotta get back to work, and
yeah.
you gotta push for the next tournament.
True, true. My coach used to tell me, when you win, it's like a massage for the soul, and we finally lose way more than we win. No, I
Yeah,
mean,
a lot more. Yeah.
happens to, yeah, to the majority of people. I was watching once a player that was around the top 30 and retired after 14 years, and his win lose balance was almost equal,
Yeah, crazy.
almost equal. It's crazy, no? A guy
Yeah,
that's top 30 consistently and loses half of the matches he plays.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but it has its good parts as well. And do you have any like dream for the future with tennis or with something else that you say, okay,
yeah.
I would love to do this besides going back to Wimbledon and playing on that court?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to play professional tennis, and if if I could dream, it would be to win as many Grand Slams as I could. But obviously, more than that is, I think, just being successful, and being able to stay there, whether that's in the top 100, or the top 50 of being able to play all the big tournaments, and sort of just being a professional tennis player. And that's sort of traveling week to week, and playing all the big tournaments. And if I get to top 10, that's great. Or if I win a Grand Slam, that's great. But just sort of being at that level, and playing playing all the big tournaments for 10 or 15 years. I think that would be amazing, and I think that's what I'm working towards right now. And I think I think I can get there, but it's gonna take a lot of hard work. But I don't see myself stopping tennis anytime soon, or getting a business job, or anything like that. I'm gonna try and make it, and I'm gonna give everything that I have.
Right, right. Yeah, I think many people don't know the amount of work it takes
Yeah,
to get to the level you are right now, and moving
even
up
more.
still, no?
It's
Yeah,
gonna be even more. Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot of work. Um, do you have any specific like life lesson you have taken from this journey so far that you say, okay, if I would stop tennis today, I learned this or that thing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm still so young, and I think
Hmm.
I'm still learning so many things, every day. But I think it all comes back to just sort of how hard you work, and sort of the commitment to sort of following your dreams. And that's what my dad always says, is if you're going to do something, you got to go for it 100%. And I think um just sort of the commitment side of things, I think is sort of, through the ups and downs of the last couple of years. I know that if I want to make it to the top, I have to focus everything on tennis, and give everything that I have. So I think, I don't know. It's a tough question, man. I'm
Mm.
still searching. I'm still searching for so many answers, and I think it's important to have good people in your life, and good coaches that can help you during this process, and through the failures, and through the the triumphs of. I think that's the best thing is having the right people in your corner, and not, like I always say, is not good coaches, but also great people, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna help you there a little bit. For example, I had you a few weeks here on my
Yeah.
corner, and I realized you're very disciplined, very organized with your stuff.
Yeah.
You have a plan. You know what you're doing. It's not just a random appearance of William
Yeah.
Grant on the court. Let's see
Yeah.
what happens today. So that's probably something you've been practicing all your life, not
Yeah.
to have your routines, your way of doing things, and yeah, that's something for sure you can take to other
Yeah.
areas of your life.
For sure.
And if you would give little William an advice
Yeah.
to the little you when you started to play tennis, what would you tell him
Yeah. I
today?
actually just
What do you
gave.
know now that you didn't know
Yeah.
then?
Yeah. I just gave a lesson to one kid, a couple of years younger than me, and he was asking me, so many questions of, what advice do you have, and I think it's so easy to say now, of what I could have done, better when I was younger. And my biggest thing is don't focus on the results. It's just focus on getting better. And it's so cliche to say, because when I was 12 or 13, I had my coaches, and my dad telling me the same thing. But when you're in that moment, when you're so young, it's so hard for you to understand, because you want to have the ranking, you want to play this tournament. So when you have people telling you, don't worry about the results, it's like, you think they're crazy. But I promise you, whatever you did in that tournament, when you were 12 or 13, it's not gonna matter. And I think, sort of, just focusing on developing your game, and where you want to play, when you're 19 or 20 years old, I think is so important. Because the next thing you know, you're going to be 17, 18, and then you're going to be 18 and 19, and you're going to be working and on things that, if I'd focused on when I was younger, I wouldn't have to worry about right now. So obviously it's so much easier to say, now, but I think just focusing on developing a good game, and a game that can do well, on the tour, I think is so important. But like I said, it's so hard to have that maturity, and sort of that mindset, when you're younger. And that comes back to the coaches, right? And the people that you're surrounded with is trying to implement that, and, reminding you. And I think, when I was 16 or 17, I sort of learned that, because I was like, okay, it's getting a little more serious now. It's getting a little more competitive, and I had to make some adjustments. I had to work on a few things. And if I had done that when I was a little younger, maybe I would have been, a step ahead or something like that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand that. Yeah, that's always like difficult to find the balance between
Yeah,
improving and wanting to win and the desire to win. No.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good answer actually.
Hmm.
Um, is there anything else you want to say that I haven't asked, or
Yeah, no, I
did I
think
forget any question that you say? Okay, I would like to tell you this story, or
no, I don't think so. I mean, like maybe something more recent, like recently, we just won the national championship, at school, and I think, obviously it was a great moment, and I was just a small part of that. My teammates and all those guys were so amazing, and my coaches, and obviously over the summer I had so many people, congratulating me and asking me, like, what did you guys do, or what do you guys do in practice, and I tell them, I say, look, it's nothing crazy. It's not like my coach is making us do this crazy drill, or we're doing these things. It's just the consistency of it, every single day. I think is so important. And my coach, he sets very high standards and expectations, and we have so much respect and we have so much trust in him that there's no second guessing. There's no, like, if he tells us something, it's not like we're gonna say he's wrong. It's just automatically, it's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it the right way, because we know the expectations that he sets, and it's just the consistency of showing up, every day, and the relationship that I had, with my team is so strong. I mean, I have literally 8 or 9 guys on my team that are my best friends, and I don't see them as teammates. I see them as, friends, and people that I like hanging out with, off the court. And I talk to so many people, and at other schools, and they have some problems within the team, and they're fighting, or it's just extra things that you have to deal with. And I think we did such a good job this year of staying so close with one of another. And once you get to the end of the tournament, I mean, all of these guys can play, but what's the difference? It's the trust, it's the communication, it's the relationships, and sort of what you've been working towards, through the whole year. And that's where I give my coach so much credit, is he put us in such a good situation, such a good opportunity for us to sort of peak, during that time. And yeah, I think it's great.
yeah, actually, I congratulate you as well, because that's a big win. It's going to be a great memory for your life,
Hmm. Yeah,
and I think the achievement to have a cohesive team and coaching group and feel home there is so important for trust and confidence.
yeah,
William, I think we got to the end.
yeah,
Thank you so much for your time, for your answers, um, and I'm pretty sure some others are going to learn from your experiences. That's
yeah.
the reason I do this is one, uh, because I want to learn myself as well. I want
Hmm.
to see how you guys made it this far,
Yeah,
and it's nice to hear the stories. I'm curious because I have my own story,
yeah, yeah, of course.
and then you see the stories from other people, and I think it's so valuable,
Hmm.
coaching and having my younger students listen to these guys that are where they want to be. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. I love talking, about it, and talking with you. I always enjoy spending time with you on the court, and but also spending time off the court with you is so much fun. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, William. So
Okay,
I'll let you
have a
go, and
have a good one.
yeah, you too. Take care of yourself. Good
Thank
luck
you.
this semester. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.